So, welcome to the podcast Be Yourself But Better, BYBB, where we learn to embrace ourselves while also really accelerating our path to self growth. And today on the show, we're going to talk about limiting beliefs. And to talk about limiting beliefs, we have experts with us today, Tina and Eleni, who are work psychologists researching. They get PhD candidates and they run Happy 9 to 5, an Instagram page, also a blog, and are dedicated to science backed research and bringing this research to the world so that we can all benefit from it. So that said, welcome Tina, welcome Alini, and thank you for giving us your time this morning.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
for having us.
Thank you for the invite. Yeah, it was a great initiative and we're happy to be here. Yeah.
All right. So today's topic is limiting beliefs. And in layman's terms, when I hear the word limiting beliefs, I think beliefs that limit us, right? Beliefs that we carry, that our surroundings impose on us, that we make so basic to us that we start believing them with all our hearts, and then they limit us in our growth. So that is the layman definition as I know it. But I wonder if in the field of science and research, there is a different way or lens to look at limiting beliefs.
Yes, so limiting beliefs, the word per se, you can't really find it in science, but we have something that is called self efficacy beliefs. And that is basically the opposite of limiting beliefs, right? So, limiting beliefs is all about, all these beliefs that hold you back.
Mhm.
Self efficacy beliefs are where beliefs that, where you think, well, I can do this. And if I don't have the ability right now to do it, then I can learn the ability to do something. So it's basically the opposite. And there's a lot of research out there about, what predicts those self-efficacy beliefs, and also what kind of effect they have on our behavior, on our experience, both within work but also outside work.
That's interesting. It almost sounds like a direct correlation between, like sort of a growth mindset per se, um, about knowing that anything is learnable, anything is figure outable, and sort of the opposite of that, stepping away from that. Do you think there is a direct correlation there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. It's very, very similar concepts, because if you think about it, a fixed mindset, there you also think, I can't change something. Things are the way they are, and they will always be the way they are right now. And there's nothing that I can do to really change that. Whereas growth mindset is really about this idea of, maybe even if I don't have the ability or the skills to do something right now, I am very much capable and to learn and to grow and as a person, and to develop myself further. And what I cannot do right now, I can maybe do tomorrow, if I just, if I'm open, and if I learn, and if I acquire skills. So in that sense, there's definitely some very close similarities. And it's parallel concepts in that way.
I know, I see. So I'll tell you this, right? I work in corporate ID, and I all the time see a lot of beliefs holding people back. So I wonder if there are some examples, relatable examples for people to say, "Oh, I think like that." Some examples of limiting beliefs that may stand out to you.
Yeah, well, I think in general with limiting beliefs, we see that people have limiting beliefs not only in their work, but also in their personal lives as well. It's a lot related to how how confident you are that you can reach certain goals, that, or when you have certain goals. So, for example, this can be like, oh, like I'm applying for a job and I know that I will never be accepted for that job because I don't fulfill two of the requirements on the list. And that's actually so interesting because there is a gender effect in there. So, for example, when men and women look at job requirements when applying for jobs, men can see all the requirements. Even if they don't fulfill all of them, they'll be like, yeah, it's okay, I can go for it. And then women will want to have 100% of the requirements fulfilled in a way to be confident that they can apply for the job. So then men will apply for the job even if they don't have full on 100% fulfillment of requirements, and women won't. And this is a gender effect of limiting beliefs right there. And we can see it so much in careers and people, or especially women achieving, for example, leadership roles. And I believe that limiting beliefs and lower self-efficacy does play a role in that, definitely.
Yeah. And I think, or I guess also like another very common one, and maybe where, well, I can relate to it quite well, and I'm sure many other people can as well. It's between introverts and extroverts, right? We have learned if you're an introvert, you're probably not good in leadership positions, right? If you're an extrovert, you are the born leader. And interestingly, there's actually some research that contradicts that. So there is some research that does support that, but also some research that contradicts that and that shows that, well, actually, introverts also have some very, very great qualities that really make them a perfect fit for a leadership position. But maybe many people who, well, perceive themselves as being an introvert might actually take a step back and be like, this is not for me because I'm an introvert and this is not what introverts do, basically. This is not for me. So there are so many different aspects where you can find those limiting beliefs at work. Yeah.
You're so right. Like I see it all the time in the tech field. Um, I see it that younger kids are told, "Oh, you don't know to socialize too well, right? So you know what is a good option for you for a career? Do something technical where you don't have to talk to people." That's a limiting belief that this is for people who do not have the social skills, because you need social skills even to thrive, in this atmosphere. Not that somebody who doesn't have social skills cannot develop it and cannot thrive, but I'm just saying that some people just decide that because their social skills are lacking, technical field is the only option that they have out there. Is one thing I've seen all the time. And you're right. Imagine a boardroom where everybody is an extrovert. It's going to be
Oh
so
no, that would be crazy.
right. There is a place for a diversity of thought, of characters in any room. And so, yeah, that's a great point you make. So I wonder what makes us form these kind of beliefs that then we stick onto for dear life.
Yeah, well, when it comes to limiting beliefs, a lot of it comes from learning. We are learning individuals. We learn through vicarious learning. That means through observations, right? So we observe what other people are doing. We take what we think is good for us and we do the same. So we can see that even from like childhood, right? I mean, we mimic what our parents are doing, then we mimic what our friends are doing. So this is a way in which we socialize ourselves and learn how to deal with the world. But this is also a way in which we form our attitudes and thoughts about our own self, about what we can do or what we cannot. So, for example, a child, right? If a child is told right from the beginning, oh, like you're a girl and you can only like do stuff that is not related to like math and science, because just do stuff that is like for only for girls, and that is already just kind of inflicting this limiting belief, even if maybe that girl likes doing sciencey stuff or not. They won't go into sciencey stuff just because they thought, yeah, but I'm a girl, I'll just stick with the artsy part. I will just do the writing and the literature and the history, and I won't bother with STEM. And you can see this also being translated later on, because we can see that in tech, in STEM, there's so like women are so much less than men in that sense. So especially also in managerial positions. So it starts from there. And then, of course, it develops through different, at work, for example, we have role models, right? So we learn from role models, and then the role models also kind of inflict certain limiting beliefs into us. Because, for example, if I would have a supervisor that would tell me, oh yeah, maybe don't go for, I don't know, that journal, for example, when you want to publish something, or yeah, I'm not sure you could like write in that specific style, maybe switch into that's already showing me this person doesn't believe in me. So of course I will feel like, yeah, I can't do it.
Right. So it is what we are told from the external environment, and that we then hear enough that we internalize, or we hear from authoritative figures that
Exactly.
we
Yes.
trust, so we internalize. And so, and sometimes maybe repetition of those, thoughts can then become real strong beliefs. Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
funny, I have a dog, like a small Shih Tzu, and we have a step in the front porch. We have some steps, and every evening, my husband and I will sit there with a small drink. Kids are playing around. Our dog is with us, but our dog thinks to get off the steps onto the road, she needs a leash. So even if you're my husband are calling her down, and if it's an empty road and it's just neighbors, and we're saying you can come, she's running back inside and standing by the leash because in her mind, how it plays is that's not an option. If I want to go there, I'm very excited about going there. I'm running around. But I just cannot step out on the road
Yep.
unless I have the leash on me.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is like for me, is like there, there. I see that limiting belief every single evening here. Um,
Absolutely. And I think it's also like actually really nicely shows that, once you actually break free of those limiting beliefs, the opportunities that you have. And it
Yeah.
also shows what, in effect, a limiting belief can actually have and how false it actually. So we might perceive it as the
Yeah.
only truth, but there's something behind that. And I think, yeah, I love the example. It really nicely shows that actually.
you know how they say there is no fact, like everything is just perception. I
Yeah.
don't know what you think about that, but I think there is a lot of word about anything and everything that we see and hear and we believe
Yeah.
are really only perceptions.
Exactly.
Anything can be challenged. And I was having this conversation with somebody about saying, hey, there are some things you can't challenge about, say, this is blue, and or like whatever. And they were like, you can challenge that because maybe it's blue the way my eyes perceive it. A dog
Hmm.
or some other animal who has a different way of
Yeah.
processing color sees it differently. So, I agree with that in a way that limiting beliefs, when challenged, can open us to a whole world of different things. But how do you think we can do that? How do you think we can start to challenge some of the limiting beliefs we have?
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
must do it.
I would say step one, it's very important to know where these self limiting beliefs come from. Where do they come from? Why are they there? What is the core of it? And what can be seen is that a lot of the times, limiting beliefs, people who come from underrepresented groups, whatever that
Mhm.
is it, and also in different contexts, right? So as a woman, maybe within tech or STEM, I might be an underrepresented group, whereas a man within education,
Yeah.
they might be in the underrepresented group, right? So this can have to do with gender, it can have with sexual orientation, it can have with ethnicity, it can have with financial status,
Even with
family
age.
background,
Yeah.
age,
Yeah.
education, right? There are so many ways in which we might perceive ourselves to be in an underrepresented group that can also kind of reinforce these limiting beliefs because we don't necessarily see someone like us in our
Yeah.
goal or dream position, right? This can be within the job, of course, but not necessarily. It can be everywhere in life. And I think just becoming aware of, okay, where is this coming from? Where and why do I start limiting myself? Why do I see that limit? And I think just becoming a bit more self-aware and self-reflecting about this is definitely a first step to try to change things in that
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point to bring up. People who are raised in limited financial circumstances, or in India, typically, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Um, when people are in school, right, studying in the primary elementary grades, you're not academically good. There is so much praise for academically excellence, academic excellence,
Yeah.
and people who are really good at that, that you can tend to believe you're less than. You like, it's not for me. I'm just going to be,
And
so
then,
there is
yeah,
no option out there for me, like that itself, because you're in an atmosphere where so much reinforcement happens for the good ones. But here's the thing, though: once I represent my the reason or the underrepresented group that I belong to, that's causing me to think of some of these things. Um, I what then? I know now that
yeah.
I'm thinking this because of this. What then?
So, what is very important to know here is that regardless of where you're coming from, you can still do things to change your situation. And we don't want to be super idealistic and like put, like one of those like pink glasses and say, oh, the world is fine and there are no issues. Of course, coming from an underrepresented group has its impact on your success, on your like limiting beliefs and all of that, and your self-efficacy. But if you have this eagerness to learn, to grow, to always get out of your comfort zone, to chase your dreams, this helps so much, so much. And we can actually see that there is a tremendous effect of mastery experiences. So, for example, experience when I feel like I am getting better at something, something that I'm passionate about, maybe, or in my career, like I did a project all by myself and it was great. I achieved it all by myself. And that has nothing to do with my gender, my age, where I come from, and all of that, right? It just has to do with my own effort and my own willingness to grow. So I think that is very, very important right there, to be aware that even though you're coming from an underrepresented group, and I mean, even here we are in the Netherlands, but we are both expats. So we do feel, for example, this whole, okay, like I am not from here. There are certain limitations, right? But there are still so many ways in which we can still achieve our goals, even being, for example, an expat, right? And yeah, especially as a first generation immigrant, I guess that's
So you know what, I'm also a first generation immigrant in Chicago, so I totally relate to the limitations that are actually there, like, but it's not the end of the world. Here's the thing though. So first we identify the underrepresented group that we think we belong to, and then accept that we are a part of that group and that presents some challenges to us. Maybe we have to work a little harder than somebody else does. Maybe we have to find more innovative ways to sort of go about this. Maybe there is no straight path, but there is a path. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And it's also very important to remember that coming from a group that is not maybe the majority is also a huge strength, because it allows you certain perspectives that you would not have had, for example, if you were, let's say, born in the country that you immigrated to, right?
Yeah. And from drawing strength from your past successes, I think whether or not we think we have limiting beliefs, we should have a running list of the things we have really done well. So that anytime we feel stuck or we feel in a position of self-doubt, we're going back and looking at that running list that we are keeping.
Yes. And I think this is also something that we try to preach, and within the Happy 9 to 5 is count your successes. I feel like I personally found it so difficult to focus on my successes, even, for example, in a situation where I felt like nothing is going well, everything is wrong, I am a failure, it's not working. But then there's a moment where you can stop and just think, wait a minute, I did so many things. There are so many things that I did well. Like, this is just one hiccup. Yeah, it happens. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't kind of abolish all of the good things that I have done before that. So celebrate your success. I think that's if there is a message that maybe we have this like negativity bias, right? So we tend to like only focus on the negative stuff and forget all the good stuff. Celebrate your success, regardless how small that is. Maybe you made a good pasta this evening. Great.
Right. And then once you sort of see that, maybe try, right?
Yes.
Maybe the third element would be don't give up before you try. If you really feel passionately about something, the thing that has worked for me when I've tried to do things that I thought were out of my league were more like, I'm going to give it 3 months of my life.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to see if I can make some progress, and then I'm going to reevaluate if this is for me or not. But try, right? Like, the trying is so important because it puts you on a journey of growth. Whether or not you accomplish what you set out to do, you accomplish growing in so many aspects.
Absolutely. And you learn from that as well, right? So I agree. I think it's just this like switch that you have that needs to happen between, okay, I'm still gonna try, and it's about almost like seeing it as a problem solving, right? If you see it as a problem, try to solve it, try to find ways, really think it through, not just, oh, because of that I can't do that, because I'm an introvert I can't do this, because I'm this I can't do that. No, this is not good enough of an excuse. Actually, it is about, okay, think about it, how can you achieve it? And if along the way you realize, no, I really don't think this is for me, that is also okay. And this is fine to accept and be, you know what? No, this is not the way I want to go. There is a different pathway for me. This is fine, but it shouldn't be based on just very general and possibly false beliefs on what you can and cannot do. Break it down. What would it take to get where you want to be? And are you willing to do that? And can you do that?
See, I love that because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves that can be like the other side of skewing to too much expectation that we build on ourselves, right? So I love that. We should have the courage to quit if it may end up feeling not worth it.
Exactly. And I think what you're doing with this like 3 months, you're setting yourself a certain boundary and a certain expectation for yourself. So you are committed to those 3 months, and this is what actually can help us go through like above and beyond these limiting beliefs, because then in our minds, like, okay, I have this goal, it's going to take 3 months, and then I will, see if it works the way I wanted it to work. And I think what you're doing is great because you are actually managing yourself in a way that you can still get out of your comfort zone and do things that are, that help you grow. But at the same time, you're not getting into this like obsession, where you kind of like seek certain goals that maybe are not as feasible anymore.
Yeah. And you can do some things just for fun, right? I mean, there is a fun in the process of doing it, whether or not you get good at it or whether or not you win at it, like the process is so important. And we stop ourselves from experiencing the process just because we give up too soon before we even go down the path because we believe that we can't.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also about, so the process of learning is very important here. The learning process is the goal. Yes, you do have a goal, but at the same time, the learning itself is the goal. And this is only a process that you need to take time for it, like 3 months or more, or whatever suits you. But the learning itself matters, maybe sometimes even more than the actual goal.
It does. I would agree. So we said the way to get over it, to summarize all of it, the way to get over limiting beliefs might be to identify what is causing those beliefs for you. What underrepresented group are you associating yourself to that's limiting you?
Yeah.
Then sort of challenging that belief based on some successes you've had in the past, based on just, pushing yourself and trying, right?
Exactly.
And I think just before all of this, there is a step of every time you say no to yourself, to just take a step back and ask, am I saying no because I don't want it? Am I saying no because I feel limited? And all of this process is once you identify sort of that, whether you want to go down that path or not, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of self-work, but it's guaranteed to, help a lot.
Worth it.
Yeah, exactly, worth it.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Sorry. No, I think like one also super important thing is actually also do all of that, but also surround yourself with the right people.
Yes.
Very important. Look for role models that are similar to you, that are in your industry, that have a job position that you want, that somehow inspire you, and make sure they are somehow similar to you.
And they lift you up and don't bash you down. That's very important too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so important, right? Not just for this, just for in general. There is such an energy transfer that happens between human beings and your surrounding that you have to be. It is just quickest way to grow is to surround yourself with people you look up to. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this. We know what limiting beliefs are. We know why they get formed. We know maybe after we identify them, how to overcome them. Why would I want to overcome these beliefs? What's the end goal? Why must I not just be okay with living with all of these limiting beliefs that I've built? What's in it for me? Like, what's my art of the possible once I break through these limiting beliefs?
Well, two parts. No, because just the other day I actually read a study that looked at all studies that are out there on self-efficacy beliefs. So what is going to happen when you actually start believing in yourself, and once you actually start believing that you can do it or you can learn to do it. And basically, what they found is over decades of research, once you start believing in yourself, your work performance increases by 28%. Now, this is massive for psychology. And if you think about how many different aspects actually influence your work performance, 28% is crazy. And that comes from believing in yourself and putting in the effort to do what you want to do and to learn what you want to do. And I think this just really makes it very clear how important it is that you start believing in yourself, because your performance is going to get better. You will feel happier, you will feel more confident, and you will actually start taking control of your own life. And this is what we're here to do. We're here to live out the lives that we want and to actually take control of them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking if it applies so hugely to work life, I wonder how hugely it applies to life. Like
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
tremendous. So thank
I
you
mean,
for all.
overcoming our own self-limiting beliefs, I feel like it has an impact not only on ourselves, but also on the people around us. So, like, for example, if I will overcome my limiting belief, I will also encourage my children to not even form them, right? So it's gonna go from generation to generation, and it has such a huge impact. And then you're also a better friend because you encourage your friends to, yes, you provide support. You're there for them to encourage them to see that there is growth and growth is possible. So it goes beyond personal growth. I think it goes to influence other people in your life
Community.
as well.
It's uplifting the whole community and everybody you
Exactly.
connect with. That's so good. Yeah. So I love this discussion. I think I feel passionately about this. I know I limited myself early on in my life because we had some financial problems growing up. And when you grow up in an environment that tells you need to be a doctor or an engineer to succeed, and then you don't know that you don't have the funds to actually support that, and you don't know that there is loans available or you can do this, like you don't know that as a kid. You decide, I'm amazing, but I can't because. So I'm really hoping that somebody hears this who's thinking this today, that they are limited because of maybe some financial problems they have, some, like academic excellence that they think
Mhm.
is required to do something, or, any other underrepresented group. I hope one person hears this and feels like
Yeah,
they can't.
exactly.
They
Absolutely.
can't.
Exactly.
Okay. So thank you so much, Tina and Eleni, for joining me today.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you for inviting us here. It's great.
Yeah.
It is. Hopefully, we'll continue our collaborations in other ways, and we'll continue to break this topic down on each
Yes.
of our profiles on Instagram and other social media and vlogs as we go. So, anybody there interested in learning more about this, please follow me on Inspire with Neha and Tina and Eleni on Happy 9 to 5, and we'll continue with the journey there. Um,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.